host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back to some more bite-sized business advice. We have one of my favorite types of episodes today. It's the entrepreneurial journey. We have a story from a serial entrepreneur who's come up with some really cool websites and ideas, and I'm excited to unpack all of it with you here today. I love these episodes because we can relate, right? We've all had those ups and downs, the challenges of being an entrepreneur, and let's see what other people are doing in the world. So before we go too deep, let's welcome in our guest, Eric McHugh. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Hey, Brandon. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful and I'm excited for this conversation.
I am too. So I always love hearing other people's journeys into the world of owning a business, product creation, entrepreneurship, whatever you want to call it out there. We can all relate, right? Because you started with an idea, you made it a thing, and now it makes money and you're living your life. But there's a lot of gaps in there in that story, and we want to fill some of those in. So tell me first, before any of your businesses, what was your start into the world of entrepreneurship?
Sure. So nice to meet everyone. My name is Eric. Before any of the businesses, my start into entrepreneurship, it was centered around Bitcoin. So right after college, my first job out of college was at Snap, helping to craft their ad algorithm. And then after that, I joined as a banking consultant. The reason I chose those two positions, because right out of college, you're like, okay, I need a job, doctor, lawyer, consultant. That sounds fancy. Parents should like that, so I was going down that route. But at that point in time, my friend introduced me to Bitcoin, which served as a base. So it kind of served as a red pill moment. So after I was learning excessively about Bitcoin, I started reading a bunch of entrepreneurship books, and then eventually started reading anything I could get my hands on. And at that point in time, the ethos of being a consultant didn't align with the non-rent-seeking ethos of Bitcoin. So as a bankruptcy consultant, you're billing out clients, which is normally fine. But as in our specific case, we're billing out clients going through the Fortune 500 bankruptcy process, aka we're billing out clients with no money. So rather than the funds going out to the creditors, aka me, you, and all the normal people, the consultants, lawyers, and just the courts were just extracting a lot of that. So given that didn't align with my ethos, I quit that job right after my bonus, started going to cryptocurrency meetups in my local area, met the original ShopX team. We started building ShopX ever since then. And along that period of time, we also spun off and launched a SaaS platform, which got VC funded. We worked out of an incubator, learned a bunch there, and I've just been building ever since.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's a very uncommon path. Most people do not get VC funded, and most people don't have that kind of a story where they're in that a type of role, and then they build a SaaS product. They're building a web platform. So I'm curious to kind of unpack that, because that's really interesting. So ShopX, you said was the first thing you started building?
Yeah. So, and again, so my ethos is, I think everyone is happiest when they're serving other people. And I think we have individual gifts that like God, the universe, creator, whatever you want to call it. I have my gifts. You have your gifts. If I try to be you, I can't be you. If you try to be me, you can't be me. So the best way for us to serve other people is to follow our natural gifts, because that's actually what we care about, and those will manifest in different projects. So ShopX started first, but in the meantime, but then it was a while back. It's like 2016, 2017. We were going through a cryptocurrency bull market, and we were ideating about ShopX at one point in time, like on a whiteboard, just like a brainstorm sesh. And then we had an idea to start CarRev, which was because of the issue at the time was it was still pretty early for cryptocurrency and Web3, and not too many brands immediately care about crypto. They don't even care right now. Like, not too many care right now, but back then they really didn't care. So what can we do now? So we built a platform called CarRev, or probably at different iterations. So we replaced affiliate codes for e-commerce brands. So as a brand, you could upload your product, and any user could sell any product through a singular link without leaving Instagram. So I could sell like a Nike product, Adidas product, and a Reebok product. You as a customer, you go to my link, you can purchase all products in one click, and then you can check out within 4 clicks and you get a discount. So it's a win-win-win. I think you hit on an important thing is, like, not many companies get VC funding, which actually was a very important lesson that I think most entrepreneurs should learn. So the lesson is a VC, they should be a partner. And so you have to find the right partner who align with your values. Because a lot of times in startup world, like you're working for free, your team's working for free. You're just like, okay, this is a long time. When will we get paid? We need some proof of concept. And when you finally get an offer for like someone offers to purchase some equity for some money, you're like, okay, this seems cool. And most people jump at that. But if you're not aligned with the VC, it can create some tension, which could ultimately kill the company. So for example, they're like, okay, we gave you this amount of money, but we want to see these specific milestones hit to introduce you to the rest of our investor network. And you could be like, okay, well, this doesn't exactly go with the vision we want to go in, but we need the money. So we're going to follow these KPIs. It doesn't work. And then then like kind of, it takes you off track. And again, and for everyone, the most valuable resources are time. But in a startup, you have very limited time and resources. So any waste could be seen as a pretty expensive opportunity cost.
Yeah. So which way, which path did you follow really? Was it a bad alignment with the VC, or did you happen to have good alignment?
So this particular one, it was bad alignment towards the end. So when we started, it was good alignment, but like after a while, funding kind of ran out. Like funding was running low. We were running out of ideas. I'm like, okay, we'll introduce you to our investor network if you do this particular thing. And it took us down a specific project that didn't go with the general ethos. So I got it. So like we're a SaaS platform for e-commerce brands to use on Shopify. So we spent a lot of resources creating something called an Instagram growth engine. So AKA just an auto population of creating Instagram accounts. Like one account would create 2 accounts. It auto populate with a profile, a quick little bio, and then those profiles would go out and DM people in a specific niche area on behalf of the e-commerce brand. So like, for example, as a cannabis brand, they're like, okay, we're going to hit up all the weed community, send a referral link, try to make sales that way. So we switched from being a technology for a brand to use to trying to bump up the metrics for one specific brand. And obviously Instagram didn't like that. So they kept canceling, like they kept switching the dog and like, you can't do this. And they kept shutting down the accounts, created a cat and mouse game, which we spent a lot of resources into that particular one.
And that was that your idea, or was that in line with what the VC wanted to see?
It was a combination. So it was based our idea. We were doing a manual process. Like we were having people we were having virtual assistants DM on our behalf to recruit ambassadors and stuff like that. But they wanted to see a scaled up version very quickly. So they're pushing scale. And we're just like, all right, well, we have this. We can theoretically do it. Let's try it, which with the last bit of our money may not have been the best course of action. But again, valuable learning lesson. So it is what it is.
Yeah, no, that's a huge lesson. And that's, something that we talk about on this show and with our clients all the time is that that core value alignment, right? Because if you don't have that, it's super important with your team, your partners, the internal company, but then also people you work with. Because if they're forcing you in that direction or forcing you to do something that's against who you are at your core and who your company is, it's only going to end poorly, usually for the end user, the client or the customer. And that's the stuff that ruins relationships and tears people apart. So that is a valuable lesson. There's so much more than just the on
fancy
paper lesson, right? Yeah, sometimes it's not. Well, it's never about just the money. You're serving a broader community, kind of like you said. So I appreciate you sharing that. It's one of those things where it's probably very rare where you hear people declining big sums of money because it's not in alignment with who they are. But really, that's what we're talking about here. So moving forward, should you have this happen again, like what's your process to sort of identify people to work with, whether it's VCs, partners, funding partners, investors? Have you thought about that moving forward?
Yeah, so it's different. So both companies, the ShopX and the Dataing, they're different companies at different stages. Like ShopX has been alive for years. We were able to self-fund, so that's cool. And I think that's going to be able to keep going just because where the crypto market is at. Where Dataing is a relatively new idea. So I think we're going to go the more traditional route. We're just about to start our funding round. And honestly, and the big takeaway I learned from that past experience is I won't, whether it be personal or business or just whatever, I won't enter a relationship that isn't powerful. So a powerful relationship versus a forceful relationship is one party loses, one party wins. In a forceful relationship, that's clearly unsustainable and ultimately a waste of time. Where a powerful relationship is where both parties win. So if both parties are winning, that relationship is sustainable and you'll both win that way. So now going forward, if it's not powerful, I won't enter that relationship. And we just have a much better vetting process. So we're getting to the people on a personal level. We're talking like, again, like some steps we've taken where we know who our lead is. We know them personally. We've gone on multiple calls. We vibe with them in person. We're like, okay, let's see what he's into. And we have similar ethos on that. And we've also taken steps to speak with people who's worked with in the past to see what they think. And that's been the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's a huge tip too. So I'm curious to hear about the growth of ShopX. You said it's been around for about 3 years. First of all, what is the platform? And then talk to me about what that growth has been like over 3 years.
Yeah, so ShopX is a way for brands to monetize in Web3. So a lot of the knowledge we took from CarRev Polony, which was a SaaS platform for Web3, we built that into ShopX. So CarRev was a platform for Shopify brands. ShopX is a platform for Shopify and WooCommerce brands. So if you're a brand on Shopify or WooCommerce, you want to download our app and enter the Web3 space, you can do so in less than 5 minutes. And the cool thing about the Web3 space is it's relatively new. So a bunch of brands are trying a bunch of different things, and some things are working, some things aren't working. So it's being at the forefront of that technology, you just have to adapt quickly. So that's how we developed our products. So our first product was ReserveX. That's an NFT power loyalty program. Our specific client had issues with botting, and this NFT power loyalty program completely solved that for them. So it's kind of like the logic behind that is like, because you can build forever and ever and ever, and if you can never get a paying client, then you're just kind of spinning your wheels. And I know plenty of people like this is the greatest idea ever, let's build it out, and then like no one buys it. Well, that's kind of a dump of resources. So the reason we chose that specific client is because we had a paying customer, we had the brand like, oh, we have this specific need. So we deviated a bit from our initial technology to build something that worked to go live in the market as fast as we could. So as we built the other longer product, we have a live working product. So that was the logic behind that. Our second product is SquadX. So that's the first ever ambassador-based blockchain program. So we pay our ambassadors in Ethereum from our ReserveX revenue. So it's a nice little cool positive ecosystem. And our long-term product is we're tokenizing real-world assets for e-commerce brands. So that has plenty of benefits down the line, and we just started that. So the point being is we're very adaptable. Again, technology is new, everything's being built. So if a business need comes up and it's within scope and it makes sense for us, we'll just go ahead and build it. But the important thing was getting that live product first out with real clients. Because like, for example, ReserveX, we have our 3 use cases. Our biggest client is Fox TV. That is a big green flag for all the other brands who are working with us, to be honest. So
yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And those 3 projects, those were all within the same company?
Correct. So think of ShopX as a Apple or Google where there's like multiple products under one umbrella.
I gotcha. That's super cool. So ShopX, we'll include this in the show notes. I think I have it here. I'll toss it on the screen too. shopx.co if you want to check it out. Explain to me the difference real quick, just so people don't get lost. Hi, my name is People. Just the difference in what is Web3, and is that the way the market is moving? Like, are people who move to Web3 now going to be the early adopters that ultimately win the most? And also, like, how can brands be thinking about moving on to Web3?
Yeah, sure. So I think Web3 is just next logical iteration of the internet. So in terms of Web 1 versus Web 2 versus Web 3, they're just titles that people conveniently place for like specific time periods. That just makes sense. So in terms of Web 1, the easiest way to think of Web 1 is you can read only. So you can go online, you can read stuff, which is fantastic because that really helps spread information. Web 2, the easiest way to frame it is social media. So just think of Instagram, think of Facebook, think of YouTube, think of this podcast. You can read, you can write, but you can't own. So I can write an Instagram post, you can read my post. The only issue is Instagram owns the post, so they can cancel us, they can sell our data for nefarious purposes. So we don't own that, and that's extremely important. If you think of currency too, is like if you own your currency, so I could say something wrong, it could get canceled. Web 3 is read, write, and own. So not only can I write content, not only can you read that content, but you can own that content. So my area of expertise is e-commerce. So if I were to write a piece of Web3 content, I give it to you. Now there's a connection between me and you, and we can send value my way, or we can send value both each other's way. And the cool thing is, let's say, again, e-commerce is an example. I'm a brand. I give you a piece of content. I can send you discounts. I can send you free product. I can send you access to in real life events. If you tick me off as a customer, I'm like, oh, this guy, I'm tired of him. I can't take it away from you because it's your piece of content. Amazon, Instagram can't take it. They can't be like, okay, well, he said something That's not okay on his podcast. We want to shut him down. They can't take it away from you. The government can't come in and take it away from you.
That's interesting. So when we're thinking about all these social media platforms who are independently fact checking things, we've had episodes of this show where we have to say this is for entertainment purposes only, all that fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
What does this do? Because you're still posting on their platform, right? Like if we were to, well, this will be at some point aired on YouTube. We'll stream it on Facebook. Can they still take it down? Even I still own the content, I get that, but can they still monitor what's on their platform, or are you saying that's going away too?
That's going away, but that's going away in a while. So like, again, Web3 is still really new. People are still building it out. So hypothetically right now, let's say Instagram would launch a NFT or Web3 portion of their platform. You can do your post. It can be an NFT. So an NFT is just think of a one-on-one image. So just like you can own something in real life, like a piece of land, and you decide what you want to do with it. You can build like a school, you can build a garden, you can build a business, you can do nothing. An NFT is the same thing in cyberspace. So if you own that digital piece of land, you as a creator get to decide what you want to do with it. So if Instagram were to go down that route, and like, again, you create that NFT on Instagram, great, that NFT is yours. They could take it off their URL in the sense, okay, well, it's like the front end is not showing. It's like, okay, well, it's not showing anywhere, but you still own that piece of content, and then you can repurpose it. You can post on other places as well. But long term, it might, and again, there's pros and cons to this, so everyone's still figuring out. Like long term, theoretically, it's possible to build an internet where people can't censor, they can't take anything down. But given that we know about people, they just might post like, yeah, stuff. So it's a balance type of thing.
Yeah,
or you can do like a governance structure, like where it's like, okay, well, let's say there's 100 users on the platform. To keep it safe, if over 51% of the users vote something as inappropriate, they can vote to take something down versus just one unanimous source.
Okay, that makes sense. That it helps me understand it better. But yeah, definitely very interesting when you put it about the Web 1, 2, and 3, about the evolution. Interesting the way content is moving, and people are creating content at such a rapid scale that it is important to own what you're doing and like fully own what you're doing. So that's a cool way to think about it. Now, as far as your new company, you said you're just creating one now. I'm curious to hear this story too, because it seems kind of unrelated to what you're doing, but obviously it's a passion project for you, and you are passionate about bringing this to market. So tell me about this company and where it came from.
Yeah, so the thing is, I think everything is related. So everything is related to everything. I think it's one big system, and I think they should now. People try to like compartmentalize or like single out specific things. That's just something I have in modern medicine, where it's like, yeah, there's something wrong with your stomach, and they try to isolate that, but that fucks with like the flow of everything else, and now you're just causing more problems. So the way Date, and again, like I think you follow your natural gifts, and this is just something that kind of came about. So a while back, I was on a podcast source specifically for crypto, specifically for Web3 about ShopX. I was on this one podcast called The Crypto Economy. It's run by this dude named Mark. After our podcast, we kept in touch. We sent each other Instagram reels. We did that whole like type of relationship. Then a while back, this new Dotting thing started following me. I'm like, what is this? Oh, it's me, Mark. It's something I want to build. We hopped on a phone call, and I found it funny. I found it beneficial to humans. So we're building it too. So what Dotting is, it's the first ever AI-powered matchmaking service. And the problems it solves are just the dating and relationship problems that have been set forth by dating apps and social media, which most people can relate to.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Like, tell me about what's different than a traditional dating app, because when you say AI and dating, I kind of think on some degree, are we dating a robot? Obviously no, but no. how does this come together in the form of a dating app with AI?
Yes, sure. So the three main problems, and there are plenty of problems with the dating market right now and dating apps. So the big problems are, the first off are the top 5% of users on apps get access to everyone on the marketplace, creating a skewed marketplace. The second issue is it's basically hot or not. So it's hard to build an authentic connection if you're just swiping like after a millisecond of checking someone's profile. And the third issue is the incentive structure. So if Tinder were to match a happy couple, what happens? The happy couple then leaves the dating app. Tinder loses a paying customer. Tinder's in bed with Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs would sell its mother for $5. So this creates an incentive structure. It's like churn marketing. So you want to keep people on the Ferris wheel. It's like delete the app, download the app, delete the app, download the app, delete the app, download the app. So that's all baked into the system. And on top of that, it's a little known fact that Match.com is kind of like the big daddy in this space in terms of app gets around 1 million users, they try to buy them. So it creates somewhat of a monopoly factor. Like Match owns everything. So again, innovation is unlikely to happen. And I guess I'm more nefarious conspiracy theory side. So I've been downloading the apps as a way to mess around and do market research. So I think of them as like a funnel type of thing where you start off on the more traditional apps and then you get fed like the more, like for example, I signed up for Tinder, I list the ethnicities I want, and religions I want, I put mine. Then I start getting ads for those specific ones. Like for example, I start getting an ad for a Christian one, Filipino one. Then you sign up with those because you seem like, okay, that seems cool. I want that specific thing. You go on that, and I suspect, no proof, that they're using our data from the other apps to fill out those profiles. It sends you down that loop. You fail. It gets you more and more obscure ones. So after that, I start getting like a Ukraine one. They call it like it gets more and more like out there. And I think the end of the funnel is like the call girl OnlyFans type of thing, where it just sends you down that funnel misery. And that's where they make the big bucks. But that's just all speculation. Just what I've seen from being on the apps. I'm just like, okay, well, that's interesting. So what Dotting does is we auto-generate profiles for you based on your digital footprint and create matches based on their digital footprint. So for example, I could get 3 matches: Ashley, Kimberly, Jane. Tell me more about Jane. She seems cool. I don't get flooded with matches because we want people to actually dive into them as a person. Okay, she connected to Facebook. She's the youngest. You're the oldest. Our pattern recognition software says that works. She connected to LinkedIn. Okay, you both went to 4 years and said the same thing. She connected to Instagram. You both go to national parks. She connected to Spotify. Oh, you both follow one obscure artist. That artist has a concert coming up. Would you like me to suggest a date with Jane? The date gets suggested with Jane. She sees my profile, my digital footprint to make sure I'm not a serial killer. And from the female perspective, it's like, okay, this is where they can do the detective work. It's like ask about questions. It's like, okay, we have so-and-so mutual friends. Let's play on that end. We go on that date. Let's say we fall in love and get married. It can then act as a relationship bubbler. So be like, okay, you guys haven't been on a date in 3 months. The place you had your second date has half off food. You should check it out. Or it's like, hey, her birthday's coming up. She just added this thing on Pinterest. It might be a good gift. So our incentive isn't to keep people on the Ferris wheel, because we're planning to make our money. If you like our service, you like the dates we suggest, you pay for a date within our platform, that's where we get our commission. So we're incentivized to get people on as many dates as possible and to get the match if that's what they want, because then they use our service, they keep planning dates, they go on dates, we get paid. It's a win-win. And again, the opposite of Tinder is like, because again, AI at its core is just pattern recognition at scale. So the longer I'm on the app going through users, it learns more about me. Thus, it'll give me better and better matches for me. So it'll be like, okay, 3 similar people, no. Here's someone different, I say yes. It picks that up, tweaks the algorithm, and starts sending me matches like that. So that works for me and across platform. So I know what everyone else is doing. So the more people on the platform, the better it gets as well.
That's super cool. I love that idea. And you're right. It's opposite of the norm, which is obviously cool, because I don't think everything you described, first of all, if that's true, is scary, if that's the rabbit hole that they're sending people down. But I also don't think that's an effective way to truly meet people, because it's so quick and ineffective. If we leverage more of, what are our common tendencies and patterns when we're not thinking about it, and bring people together that way, that's a really interesting idea. So I'm excited to see where this app and this company goes. We'll put that in the show notes down below too, so you can check it out. Eric, we've talked for more time than usual, but this is such an interesting entrepreneurial journey. You have a very unique path that I think is inspiring to other people who are creators out there. So I appreciate you sharing your story with us.
No, Brandon, thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful to be here. And if I can support you or any of your listeners in any way, again, always feel free to reach out, because the goal is to be as helpful and spread as much positivity as possible.
I love it. I'm in line with that. If you're listening to this, wherever you are, first of all, subscribe. But second of all, reach out to me and Eric. We want to help you. We want to build you up, connect you guys, and see if maybe there's more collaboration to be had. So Eric, I love to end the episodes with one final question. And it's the question you would have the audience, the listener, ask themselves. We talked about a number of different things, but I'm curious, just in your path, what's one of those powerful questions that you find yourself asking in terms of how do you get your company to grow, scale? How do you enter new markets or build new things? What would you want the listener to ask themselves after listening to this episode?
Yeah, so from a spiritual perspective, the best question to ask yourself is, who are you? Because you can't serve other people who don't know who you are. But to give you an actual business answer, the best question is, how am I serving my customers? it's cliche, but it's the base thing, because as a company, your position is one of servitude to your customers. And I don't mean servitude like a slavery. I mean, like, you're there to help. So if you ask yourself, how am I serving your customers and how can I do this more effectively?
That's amazing. Yeah, it's a simple question, but we don't ask it enough. You're right. So I love it. I appreciate you coming on the show. And for those of you watching and listening, thank you for being here. We'll see you on tomorrow's episode of Harmonious at Lunch.